Hello She Knitters, it's Sharon and this is video C1 for my Cynthia pattern where I'm going to demonstrate a number of different lace stitching techniques, and I'm going to show you the actual row 99 from the pattern and part of row 100. So as you know, my patterns are split up into brackets to make it easier for you. If you're just coming to this video to watch the stitching techniques, then ignore whenever I say brackets. Okay, here we go. Starting with the beginning of the row 99, it's a yarn over. So I simply lift my needle up under that working yarn, and that makes the yarn go over the needle. The second stitch is a knit stitch, so I kind of anchor that yarn for a second, and then I knit the second stitch and everything's in place nicely. Next I have a yarn over. That's always from a knit stitch, bringing the yarn in between the two needles up and over that right hand needle. Now we have knit 2 stitches. Now we have SKP, slip 1, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over. Slip as if to purl, regular knit, lift that slipped stitch up, pass it over that knit stitch. Now we have knit 2 together. I bring my needle to the left of the next 2 stitches, put it through regularly through both of the stitches at the same time, and knit those 2 stitches. Now I have a knit and a knit. Whoops. And I have a yarn over, again bringing the yarn up between the 2 needles and over that right hand needle. Now I have a knit 2 together, bringing the needle to the left of the next 2 stitches, and finishing with a knit 1 in that first set of brackets. Here we are in the second set of brackets, starting with 2 purl stitches and then a knit stitch. And now I have a yarn over again from a knit stitch, bring it in between those 2 needles and around. Now, holding that firmly in place, because the next is a slip 1, SKP, slip 1, knit 1, that's the K, and the P is to pass the slip stitch over. Sometimes it's written as SKP, SSO, but I just write SKP, knit 1. Here we go, knit 2 stitches together, bringing my needle to the left, right on through those 2 stitches, yarn over, knit 1, and purl each of the next 2 stitches. Now this third set of brackets I'll also show you how to use the crochet hook for beading. So it's knitting the first 4 stitches as normal, and then stitches 5 and 6 each have a bead on them. So I get my trusty crochet hook and I pop that right through the center of a bead. And then what I do is I kind of anchor that right hand needle. You can either hold on to it or anchor it against your body or tuck it in somewhere so it just sort of sits, and then I slip that next stitch, that next loop of yarn off the left hand needle, pull down on it with my pincer grasp with my index finger and thumb to flatten it out some so it can go through the bead more easily. I also hold the bead. It's a little bit of a juggling act when you're first doing this, but once you get it, it's pretty quick. I turn the crochet hook parallel with the hook head facing towards me, and as I pull down and hold that bead, I pull on through, which I just slipped. Make sure I get the whole loop of yarn. I'm going to try again. Pull on through. Sometimes I have to grab it. Usually I go pretty quickly and it doesn't take 3 times, but of course when I'm taping for the umpteenth time, the gazillionth time, it does work. Again, one more time. Let's get it through. Yay! Success! Put it on the left hand needle and knit it off. And now we got the next one, same thing. Gonna grab a bead, and using that crochet hook, bring it off the needle, parallel and with the head of the hook facing towards me, pulling down on the yarn, pull it on through the bead, put it back on that left-hand needle. That one was successful. And keep on moving. Finishing that row with 2 knit stitches. One's hiding. And here's 1 and 2. Now I'm going to show you knit front back, or KFB. You knit as normal into the stitch, but you don't slide it off. Before you slide it off, which you'd normally do right now, you go back into the back loop of that same stitch. Just put it into the back loop, not into the front, but into the back loop. I hope you can see that. And that's KFB. And I'm into the next set of brackets. Purl 2. I'm going to go quickly through this. Knit 1. This is a repeat of the second set of brackets. Yarn over, SKP, slip 1, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over, knit 1, knit 2 together, go to the left of the 2, put your needle through both stitches, yarn over, knit 1, and purl 2. I somehow was missing my stitch marker. I can put it back now. This is the edging now that I'm on, and I knit 1, knit 2 together, yarn over twice. That's the difference at the end. Usually you just yarn over once. This time you wrap twice, knit 2 together, again yarn over once and twice, and then knit those last 2 stitches. Now here we are at the beginning of row 100. Again, we're still on the edging, and this is where it gets a little tricky with the beading because you have the double yarn over, and I'll show you how to get through that and keep your sanity. First 3 stitches are knit. 4th stitch, okay, but I want to show you, I just did the first 2 stitches. The 3rd and 4th are actually the double yarn over from the row before, but they're each treated as a separate stitch. So there were 3 knits. This is the 3rd knit, which is that loop of the double yarn over. And now there's a purl, which is the 2nd loop of the double yarn over as it's facing me. And now the next 2 stitches are beaded. Again, I get my crochet hook, get a bead on there. I put my crochet hook into that stitch, pull it off. Remember, I pull down and squeeze the bead, pull it through, back onto that left-hand needle, and that stitch gets knit. Now, here is the first loop of, again, the double yarn over from the row before, and that's going to get a bead on it. And I want to make sure when I knit that stitch after the bead's on that I don't pull off the 2nd yarn over at the same time. Here we go. Lift it up. Pull it through. And use my fingers to put it back on that left-hand needle. Anything that works is what works. Okay, now I'm going to knit that stitch but not pull off that 2nd yarn over. Right? Because that 2nd yarn over gets purled. And I finished this first set of brackets on row 100 with knit 2. I hope that helped. You can watch it as many times as you need to. And you can ask questions in the group. See you next time.